Are you ready to explore yourself? Let's start. In this episode, we will talk about parental pressure, a topic that a lot of teenagers suffer from. In this episode, we will have multiple guests, actually three, so we can understand each and every point of view. We will have a parent to represent parental expectations. Why do they have these expectations? And a lot of other questions that you may be asking. We will also have a teacher to provide insights on academic and emotional effects of her students. And lastly, we'll have a student that actually just graduated from university to share her overall experience with parental pressure through teenage life. But first, we have to understand what is parental pressure. Parental pressure is the stress that parents place on their children, mostly dealing with relationships, beauty, social norms, other interests, and performance. It may be indirect, like blaming, strict standards, or strict rules, or direct, like yelling or pressure. Sadly, this pressure, which actually most of them do it from love, actually, according to my research, 86% of them do it from love, but it results into negative impacts on our mental health. These impacts include depression in children, as frequent verbal criticism and unrealistic expectations increase depression risks. Children internalize criticism, leading to harsh self talk. It also may lead to eating disorders and body image issues if these comments were related to weight or eating habits or anything related to food. And lastly, academic performance. Yes, parental pressure can extremely affect our academic performance, as constant pressure from controlling parents can lower our academic performance as we are perfectionists. Actually, we never perfection anything, but we always want everything to be perfect. As a result from constant pressure from controlling parents, something that I found while doing my research, students cheat so they can get good grades so their parents are not mad at them. And cheating is never the solution for anything. And lastly, it can lead to social anxiety, which is a huge issue. A lot of teenagers, actually, not a lot, most of teenagers suffer from social anxiety. And they will actually find a very interesting episode for social anxiety that will help you understand yourself and how to deal with the social anxiety. Let's start with our episode. So now we are with a parent, to be specific, a mom, to know more about your perspective of parental pressure. Hi,
Hi,
can you tell us more about yourself? How many kids do you have and what's their ages?
I have two daughters, 23 and 19.
Okay, so can you tell us why do you think expectations are important?
I think seeing my children succeed and reach their goal can bring parents a sense of pride and fulfillment.
Okay, interesting. So why do you as parents set high expectations for your children?
And always parents, they believe in their children will be better than them, so they set the highest expectations and they believe that their children can do it.
Do you think these expectations sometimes pressure them?
Of course, sometimes they have different goals than ours.
How do you, as a parent, balance encouragement and pressure? How do you always make sure that you're not pressuring them, but in the same time, you're encouraging them to do more successful things in their life?
I think by communicate openly and honestly with them and be willing to apologize and make amends when needed. The key is to maintain a positive and supportive relationship with our children where they feel encouraged and to pursue their goals while also feeling safe for excessive pressure. Every child is unique, and so it's important to tailor your approach to their individual needs and personality.
The fact of how you mentioned that each and every kid has different goal and interests, and parents should not pressure them towards a certain goal, especially that most parents pressure them towards their own dream goal, not what their children really want. Do you, as a parent, feel societal pressure to push your children to succeed?
I think yes, sometimes society has different standards of success than our children's dreams or our dreams. Sometimes society impose certain standards, like for example, joining different universities or having or choosing different jobs or um,
Do you think that this is a factor that led to both of your girls entering engineering?
no, You are.
Why do you think that?
Uh, I chose engineering because it's somehow like broad. And one of my daughters, she wanted to choose art and design. She wants to join art and design. So I advised her to join architecture uh, to have a broad spectrum for having different jobs. For example, photography, graphic designing, interior design, so she can have different jobs according to the market needs. This is why I advised her with architecture instead of art and design.
So you basically mixed between your interests and her interests, which honestly I love. So you basically gave her your experience in life with a mix of her interests, and I honestly think that this is so good. Lastly, have you ever felt that your expectations negatively affected your child? Mainly focusing in the last year of school, since I know there's so much pressure in it due to the fact that it almost depends your future. I don't really believe in this sentence, but this is what society says.
Sometimes, yes, because during exam times or during deadlines or projects deadlines, they are so stressed to meet deadlines. So, so I feel guilty when I meet these points.
Okay, how do you handle this guilt or this feel that you're negatively impacting them? How do you handle? You hang out. You have quality time. You communicate.
After they finish what they are doing, I always encourage them by incentives. Actually, and by promises like bringing them gifts, mobiles, sometimes sweets.
So you reward them for their effort and
Yes,
for
yes,
their effort.
exactly.
Thank you so much for giving us a brief out about parents' perspective and how they view things. As we always think that they just want to pressure us, and I know yes, but actually they don't. They just wants us to succeed. All you want.
You're welcome anytime.
So now we are with the teacher to understand her point of view of how she views parental pressure through her students. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
How, can you please tell us what subject do you to teach and what's your experience with students under parental pressure?
Yes, sure. I'm an English language arts teacher. Okay, from my position as an English teacher for the previous years, I witnessed multiple children, students who do actually suffer from parental pressure. There are signs that whenever you see, you can tell that this child, let me just take him as a child, he does suffer from an, uh, an extensive parental pressure, actually. So one of them would be he's always in fear of failure, constant fear.
And sadly, this actually leads them to cheating in exams because they're scared that their parents would punish them because of getting a bad grade.
Yes. Other things can be like signs of anxiety. He's always anxious about all the tasks that's being given. Maybe some of them are perfectionists. So whenever he does something, he always blames himself that it's not that perfect, and he keeps on repeating it over and over. So
Sadly, some of my colleagues actually they don't submit their assignments because they think it's not perfect, and actually when I viewed it, it's so good, but they think it's not perfect enough, so they actually don't submit the assignment.
yeah, so it's like they criticize themselves too much to an extent that they might actually sometimes hinder themselves from completing the task. So this holds them back. And these are some of the effects of parental pressure. So it's one of them is that they can actually fail in the subject that they are addressing because they are overly anxious. They always feel bad about no matter what they do, how much effort they do, they just see that their work is not accomplished or not completed.
And sadly, they eventually give up, and we always give up at a point where it's like before exams, so it negatively reflects on our exams. Although the student's like a superhero, so
Exactly.
where they give
So maybe he's just a high achiever, and then because of his anxiety, his fear of maybe if I've done this wrong, maybe if I get this bad grade, my dad is gonna scold me or something. So they start doing bad actually during examination time. So yeah, it does affect all the students. So yeah, go ahead
So
with the
how do
question.
you see it and you're reflecting on the academic performance more of?
It does hold back the academic performance because, as I was just telling you in this example, if he's overwhelmed by consequences that can happen upon, or he's seeing this mark as, okay, what if I got a bad mark? So he enters the exam with this kind of psychology. He's just, he can't concentrate. So he's not doing his best.
And actually, people think that parental pressure that can affect academics is only about grades, but when they actually pressure them through training, I believe that it impacts them through
Definitely.
school, especially in the field, in the topic of not sleeping and not concentrating in class.
It definitely affects their physical and mental health as well. So you can find them burnt out, showing signs of stress. Um, Maybe low self-esteem can even be witnessed.
Actually, low self-esteem is a very important topic that a lot of teenagers suffer from, but you will find an episode about self-esteem on this channel that will help you a lot to understand the topic and to know how to deal with it. So, what advice do you think would you give for parents to help their children to drive to success without adding stress on them?
What I see is that we have to accept that even our own children, they are not all the same. So we have to accept differences. Everyone has his own capacities, capabilities. So not all the students or all the or my children, my personal children,
Yeah.
actually they don't have the same capacities. So
Yeah.
maybe someone is more intellect. Maybe someone is more creative. Maybe someone he has maybe his advantages in drawing or something. Maybe he's not into education that much. Maybe he's excellent in sports, but
Yeah.
he's not doing that well in education. So we have to be accepting. I think parents should accept their children. They should know their dimensions. So I know what he can do.
Actually, I
What his
mentioned
weaknesses.
something in my introduction episode. We're just children. We're not superhero with wings, and we should accept that because we're not superheroes with wings.
That's the thing, and you should show some confidence in your child. If you're not confident, you should appraise his work. He shouldn't be like always commenting on the negative side. Oh, you see, you haven't done this and that.
Especially the parents have extreme high expectations, and this was shown in the last part with the parent about how they have very high expectations. Although sometimes it's because of society, but this is not really an excuse, but we have to go through it.
Well, I think that parents should be celebrating the effort actually, and should be highlighting the effort because some kids they do a lot of effort, but maybe the result will be different. And I believe that in life, this is how it works. Maybe you're just gonna do the whole work, you keep on working on a project or something, and it's not guaranteed. The results are actually not guaranteed. So this should be an approach that should be instilled in children ever since they are young, and they won't be having this kind of awareness unless the parent does this and he implants this within them. So
Do you feel like school also contributes to this pressure, and how can it be addressed?
I think the school will play an important part in addressing and in lowering the level of anxiety in children who faces any kind of pressure. So maybe to balance the workload, to promote mental health, they should provide the counselors for the students to go and pay a visit whenever they wish to. They should celebrate again their effort and not their outcome. So maybe I have a student who's doing his best, he's submitting assignments and everything, but when he comes to the exams, he just can't handle it. So I shouldn't be grading him only on the exams. I should be actually taking a holistic approach in doing it so that he can feel that he's not depressed. Okay, he
I'm
can keep
happy
on
that
achieving.
nowadays, like there is school counselors and there's parents that support their children, but sadly they're not as they're not as much as we hope for or we expect. Hopefully, we'll find more counselors and parents that support children to have their best academic life and an overall nice life. So now we are with a student that just graduated university to give us an overview of the whole journey and what she felt during parental pressure. Hi,
Hi.
please share with us a time where you felt overwhelmed by parental expectations.
Sure. Ever since I was a child, my parents had a clear vision for my future. They always dreamed me for being the successful engineer they were. I can still remember the day they brought it up. I was 13, and this was very stressful for me actually, and it ruined my senior year.
So, how do you think it affected your mental health and academic performance during your senior year, as it supposedly determines your future, which I don't believe in, but this is what society says. So, how do you think it affected your academic performance and mental health?
Actually, senior year is supposed to be fun, and I was supposed to have fun in this year. But my parents actually pressured me for applying for new schools and many other factors that was unbearable. They were with me in every step, asking for and I was asking for advice. And when I finally entered the major, I found myself drowning in the tough classes, and it was very demanding and it was overwhelming for me.
So, we can say that you weren't really interested in the major, but you entered it to satisfy your parents.
Yes, actually.
Wow, sad. So, what would you actually like parents to understand more to help the following generations?
I think parents should understand that teenagers must have their own choices in this part of their lives, as they have a perspective on what they want to be in the future, and they can choose whatever they want.
So, what's your response for parents that believe that they know more than us or they know what's better for our future, which I totally don't believe in, but this is what they say. So, what's your response for them?
Sometimes parents know better than us, and that's right. But I think it's not 100%. I think they must give their child's maybe 50% of the choices to be responsible for their choices, um, and they must be choosing their lives.
So, basically, you believe that we should choose what we are interested in, so we actually are interested in it and have the passion to do it.
Yes, and even if we don't have passion, we must have our own choices and take the steps towards it.
Have you ever found a way to communicate your feelings with your parents effectively?
No,
Why is that?
I didn't have the space to do so.
Do you think that modern parents allow more the space of communication and discussion to help more decrease parental pressure? As I know that a lot of teenagers suffer from it.
Maybe they do because they passed through the same experience, so they give their children the chance not to go through it again.
Thank you so much for sharing your point of view and experience with us. As teenagers always think that they're alone, but trust me, you're not. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So after I finished recording with all the guests, I noticed that none of them talked about how to manage parental pressure as a teenager. So I decided to make my own research and come and share it with you. So first, you have to understand the source of the pressure. You have to identify the expectations. Are they academic, sports related, or related to career choices? Understanding the source of pressure will help you a lot in addressing it better. You have to emphasize with their intentions, because parents usually do it from love, care, or their own experiences. Recognizing this will help you reduce frustration. Then, you have to communicate openly and respectfully. You have to express your feelings. Choose a calm moment and express how you feel. Use statements like I feel overwhelmed when blah 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 to avoid surroundings. Ask questions. Find out why parents have a specific expectations. Their answers will surprise you, I promise. And it will help you understand their perspective more. Then you have to set boundaries. You have to define limits politely but firmly. Let them know what you can and cannot do. For example, I understand you want me to excel, but I need downtime to recharge. Stick to your decisions. Constantly enforce boundaries you set, which builds trust over time. Then, show your efforts. Demonstrate responsibilities. Take initiative in your work or chores to show that you're capable of managing your life. Share your progress. Keep your parents updated with what you're doing, whether it's about school, sports, or hobbies. This reduces their need to micromanage everything. In addition, prioritize self care. Practice stress relief techniques like meditation, exercise, journaling, or engaging in hobbies that can help you stay calm and focus on your personal growth. Set your own goals. Reflect on what you truly want for yourself, independent, celebrate your achievements, acknowledge every small win to boost your confidence and reassure your parents. As controlling parents mostly do not see our achievements, and we always think that we're a failure because they don't appreciate these achievements. But trust me, we should appreciate our achievements ourselves. Also, manage your time wisely. Create a schedule. Plan your day to ensure you meet your responsibilities while leaving time for relaxation. We're not robots, remember. Learn to say no politely. Decline tasks if your plate is already full. Educate them gently. Share resources with them. Introduce your parents to articles, podcasts, or videos. You can definitely send this episode to them. Also, highlight alternative paths. Explain that success isn't one size fits for all, and that your well being is essential for long term achievement. Lastly, build resilience. Focus on positivity. Remind yourself that parental pressure doesn't define your worth. Also, practice self reflection. Regularly evaluate your goals, emotions, and progress to ensure that you're staying true to yourself. By applying these strategies, you can reduce the strain parental pressure puts on you while fostering a healthier, more understanding relationship with your parents. And lastly, stay curious about yourself.